to the tribe rather than to WCB. Staff has reached out to DFW and WCB to discuss the tribe's request and learned that in accordance with Governor Newsom's policy, DFW is currently reviewing all of its properties to identify opportunities for co-management of lands with tribes and excess lands that could be acquired or transferred to tribes. As that is an ongoing process that will take time, and not wanting to lose the momentum that has been built, staff is recommending that the Conservancy proceed with the Pacific Shores program as proposed. However, staff committed to the tribe to facilitate meetings between the tribe, DFW, and WCB to discuss future options for ownership and management involving the tribe, and also recommends that the restricted future uses of the property include protection of cultural resources. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I believe we also have Patty McCleary from the Smith River Alliance and Sean Fries, the Department of Fish and Wildlife Manager for the Lake Earl Wildlife Area, on the Zoom available to answer questions as well.
Are there any, first of all, are there any public comments? All right, well, how about any board comments? Hi, Patty.
Hey there, Doug.
You know, I'm curious, I hate to say this, but why would anyone want this property? I mean, I think the Smith River Alliance has done a great job in helping to get the problem resolved, but you don't have any particular interest in doing anything with the property, do you? I mean,
is that a question for me, Smith
Yes.
River Alliance?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say that the reason we're contemplating a structure, which is we pre-acquire the parcels, is it's really just for technical reasons to make it efficient. When we look at what we did for the last program, just as a comparison, we had such an efficient operation that we purchased 30 parcels every 2 weeks for a period of time. And then we purchased 30 parcels a month for a period of time. And then it went to quarterly. And what we're finding with 400 transactions proposed, we're just looking at grouping and pre-acquiring and then conveying them on as appropriate. So it's a logistics issue. The logistics are complex for this, and since it's 4:35, I won't go into detail on the logistics, but.
All right, but Karen, if the Indian tribes wanted that property, would there be a problem in giving it to them? I mean,
I think in the long run, it's a much larger discussion because Fish and Game already has 1,100 lots, and I think what we're trying to do right now is get the remaining 400 lots, which is still a pretty big task, out of ownerships, which are now maybe 3 generations down. I mean, Patty's going to be tracking people down around the world probably to find these. And the discussion with the tribe and Fish and Game WCB is a longer process, and we don't want to get out in front of Fish and Game's analysis of all their properties, but we are trying to start that conversation with Fish and Game and the tribe this summer. So that we can see what opportunities there are. And there's probably a suite of opportunities from Fish and Game at some point saying, yeah, let's move everything to the tribe, to a co-management agreement. There could be cultural easements. There's a lot of different ways that the tribe could gain access to these lands. And it's going to take a lot of discussion to get to the right answer for those. So I think right now what we're trying to do is just get the lots that we can, get them into a singular ownership, and get rid of this checkerboard pattern. And then as we're doing that on the parallel path, we'll be working with the tribe and Fish and Game WCB to see what options there are for the longer term ownership.
Just one more question. What does the average lot sell for there?
Well, we are poised to receive approval from the Department of General Services of that number. And so I'm going to give you a range because I can't tell you what the price is until they approve it, but we are looking at a potential value in the range of $4,500 to $5,000 for the smaller half-acre lots.
Which, Doug, is about the same. I mean, back when we did this in 2003, 2005, that's about the same figure. Yeah.
We used to fill up whole auditoriums of people on this issue, I remember.
We did. I was told not to sleep at night. Some of them.
Uh-huh. You,
All right, are there any
Can I-
other comments or questions?
can I offer one more thing, Doug?
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's been a long day for everyone. And I just want to share some of the joy I've found in having current conversations with the children, grandchildren of the original lot owners, right? And so I just want to observe and share with you that the conversations have changed. It's no longer ranting and raving about why can't I build my house. It's a moment of support for conveying the property to the state of California for protection as the Lake Earl Wildlife Area. There's a celebration of birds and wildlife, and it feels like we have moved to a different planet, but it is, I now have added to my process that I will take people out and show them their parcels. And it's really a celebration of what we value most about the coast, about the role of the Department of Fish and Wildlife and wildlife areas.
Well, thank you, Patty. You guys do a great job up there too. All right, do I hear a motion? Do I hear a motion that we approve item 16?
I'll move.
Mr. Cash moves. Marsh, do you want to second it?
Sure.
Okay, been moved and seconded that item 16 is approved. Anne, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Notoff,
Aye.
Ms. Laughlin,
Aye.
Mr. Cash,
Aye.
Ms. Miller,
Aye.
Ms. Gutierrez Groundage,
Aye.
Mr. Aliotto,
Aye.
Chair Bosco.
Aye.
This motion passes. Item 16 is approved.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen, Patty.
Thank you.
All right, we're now going on to the Executive Officer Report, Part 2, which Mary, I guess you've inherited or not?
I have, yes. Although I think Sam will be back soon. The first report is going to be a report on the coastal trail. Andrew, can you go ahead and?
Over the past 3 years, Coastal Conservancy, in collaboration with the Coastal Commission staff, have been working together to map the California Coastal Trail. We would like to update you that this map is now available online for download and in a new interactive online viewer. As we have some newer board members, we'd like to take a step back and remind you what the Coastal Trail is. The Coastal Trail is being developed to create a continuous trail spanning 1,230 miles along the coast of California from Oregon to Mexico. The Coastal Trail system is developed as close to the ocean as possible and where feasible within sight, sound, and smell of the ocean. It's considered a braided network, meaning there can be parallel routes in the same area that accommodate different experiences, such as a sandy beach, parallel along a bluff-type hiking trail, or a paved pathway. All are considered strands of the Coastal Trail. The Conservancy's role is to coordinate the development of the Coastal Trail with partner agencies such as the Coastal Commission, state parks, and Caltrans, and thus our collaboration with the Coastal Commission on this project to map the Coastal Trail. Today, there is roughly 70% of Coastal Trail completed, and this new map we're sharing with you maps the existing Coastal Trail network. Here's a sneak peek of the webpage we've developed. Before now, there had only been hard copy maps of the Coastal Trail, so was not in a digital geographic format, and was mapped at a coarser resolution, so it wasn't usable at a finer scale. In the Conservancy strategic plan, completing and maintaining a map of the existing Coastal Trail network is listed as Objective 1B in the strategic plan. So here's what the new Coastal Trail mapping viewer looks like. You can see this is zoomed into the city of Santa Cruz on the central coast, and the Coastal Trail data is layered on top. This was created in-house. Coastal Conservancy and Coastal Commission staff worked together to compile data sets from partner organizations and aerial imagery to map existing and publicly accessible trails. With this interactive map, you can zoom in, zoom out, go to a different location, search for a location, so this map is interactive in the same way you might use other online maps. Anyone will be able to access this map as well as download the data. You may be wondering what the different colors are on the map. So this is to reflect the braided network of the coastal trail. The darkest red-orange color is what we're referring to as primary coastal trail, meaning it's as close to the ocean as possible. Secondary coastal trail is the next lighter orange color, and are segments that aren't as close to the ocean as possible, but still meet the criteria to be part of the coastal trail system as an alternate strand of the coastal trail's braided network. And the yellow color designates beach or shoreline routes on sand or other natural surfaces. With each map segment of trail comes with data associated with it. On the online viewer, if you select a trail on the map, a box like this on the left pops up and includes information such as the county name, name of the trail, or name of the trail steward or operator. Here's a snapshot of the website that shows users can either 1, view the interactive mapping viewer online, or 2, they can download the data directly in a variety of formats for their use. This is a living resource, and so we are able to update the data and is automatically updated on this site. There will be different uses of this information. First, this data is very useful for Coastal Conservancy and Coastal Commission staff to use internally for our respective work. Secondly, our partner agencies such as Caltrans, local agencies, and nonprofits will be able to integrate the data into their own planning efforts and help implement the coastal trail within their jurisdictions. We get asked for this data all the time, so it will be great to finally have it mapped and easily accessible. And finally, this information will be available to members of the public that may want to learn more about the coastal trail and where they can access it nearest to them. So here's a link to the coastal trail map, which is also available through our website as well as the Coastal Commission website. Peter and Emily will now be available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Peter and Emily, Brian, you had a question to begin with. Was it answered?
The question was how much, what remains? How much do we have of the coastal trail and how much remains?
Sure, our current estimate is that it's about 70% complete. We love the question of how much remains, and we'd love to be able to provide a clear answer to that. The answer, unfortunately, though, is that it's really hard because we don't know exactly what the alignment is going to be for the remaining 30% of the trail. If it's straightforward, we could follow the nearest highway. Otherwise, since it's the California coast and it goes in and out a lot and deals with a lot of private property, that one's a difficult one to answer right now.
Hey, Doug, I think I remember we were at like 50% when I first started on the board. So we've gotten a lot done. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but it was, it's been about 14 years since I've been on the board. It's probably even a little bit longer for you too, Chairman. But the Conservancy, hats off. You guys have gotten a lot done over the last decade. So congratulations.
It's a tough job in many places. Compared to the Great Redwood Trail that Senator McGuire wants to do, and we were just talking about, where you already own the right-of-way, the railroad right-of-way, you already own the whole thing. And what you need to do is just put a trail on it. This has many, many owners and, roads and beaches and all sorts of obstacles. Would it be safe to say that we've sort of gotten what I call the low-hanging fruit, and now the rest of it's way up in the tree? Would you like to answer that, Sam, or not?
Sam's not here. Well, I think you approved some pretty big sections even today. So I think there are still areas where we're making big progress, but you're also right. There are some areas where it's just really tricky.
There's some big kahunas still out there, like Big Sur.
There's some tricky areas. I think Linda has her hand raised.
I do. I just wanted to acknowledge and congratulate the Conservancy staff on this project. I was the lead for the Coastal Commission staff, working all of us together for 3 years, and the reception of this mapping viewer is incredible. We got so much press, and I've received so much great response from our other working partners, our local governments and state parks and Caltrans thanking us for doing all this, and how this will achieve the goal of reaching, a complete coastal trail at some point in the future. So congratulations, everybody that worked on it and gets to use it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to echo the congratulations. I think this is a fabulous project. Incredible, actually. Once it is fully complete, it will be a gem, really, of the state. And so I want to say thank you to you all for that. I was following the presentation. I had to turn off my camera because I had to eat something. Otherwise, I was about to fall out of my chair. But really terrific.
I see that Sam hasn't been able to extend his dental appointment any longer and is back with us.
It was a quick procedure.
You couldn't get a few more fillings or something?
They poked me as hard as they could.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
well,
can I just ask one follow-up? Agree with what everyone said, but on the map online, is it possible, I was sort of following along while the presentation was going on, especially for the accessible, the wheelchair that we have all over the state now, could we do kind of live links to those beaches to actually reserve them? It's such an amazing thing we're doing. I just wonder if it could be not immediately, but as you work on the website, if it could even be a little more interactive. Like it looks like it lists the numbers, but if we could just click on it, if there's anything like that in the future, I think that could be really exciting too, just to add to the website. Looks like Mary maybe has given this a lot of thought already.
I haven't given it any thought, but I think it's definitely something we could look into.
Yeah, it would be so great.
It's really popular. So yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe if we ever do anything like that, just working with the disability groups that sort of brought all the wheelchairs to us, I just think could be a really exciting opportunity to make sure that folks know how to get them, because people that want them are paying like $3,000 for those beach wheelchairs. So it would be really nice.
Well, great. Then I guess we'll move on to the second part of Sam's report, and which is Deborah Reddick doing the legislative report, right? Deborah? Maybe she's at a budget hearing or something.
She's coming through.
Okay.
No, thank goodness those are done.
Oh, good.
Not for finance though, but for us.
Yeah, I'm surprised Gail is still here.
We've passed the baton on.
Uh-huh.
Not so fast, Brian. We had a lot of work to do between now and July 1st.
Oh, only 5 major packages to finish,
All right.
Okay. Are we going to have the legislative report?
Good afternoon.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'll be brief, mercifully brief. So this report was produced a couple of weeks ago in order to be listed on the agenda. So I'll just update you. It looks like the bond bills will not be moving this year. And folks are working on including big chunks of the bonds in the budget as a result of the budget surplus. So there's a lot of negotiations going on about, what sections to include in the budget and earmarks and all that sort of thing. So we'll know more sometime in the next month. It looks like the Conservancy, a lot of the Conservancy allocations from the Senate bond are moving. So that's good, because we were in that for approximately $900 million. The Garcia bond has been sent to the Rules Committee. So, but I know that the Assembly is working on also moving parts of that bond into their budget bill. 3 of the bills have become 2-year bills, AB 30, AB 67, and AB 620. And the rest of the bills have moved to floor votes this week. Starting next week, there will only be floor votes before the bills start moving into the other house. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Maybe Sam wants to weigh in on the bond bills.
Sam can't talk very well right now.
Okay.
So.
All right, well, does anyone have any questions for Deborah?
Well, just on the budget, I understand that there was concern about the governor's lack of proposal for funding for the Coastal Commission, but that's getting better in the legislative process. I hope that is true, Linda. And in the Conservancy, any other budget?
Well, there were a couple of budget hearings this week. There was a Senate budget hearing and also Assembly.
Right.
And so the committees, the subcommittees of the budget committees are going through the various packages and looking at staff recommendations and also LAO comments about how to handle the allocations and future appropriations. So some things are going to get deferred to trailer bills after June 15th. So it's kind of a work in progress. I can, if you want, I can send you links to the budget subcommittee reports that go through all the agencies and the climate package and the wildfire package. And there's some excellent charts in there showing you, what the staff recommendations are. So I'm happy to send those along.
To make the point that, we're, as with climate and wildfires and sea level rise, all a priority, the coastal agencies are a key part of that solution. So I hope they come through with enough money to do their job.
I hope so too, because, without a new bond and without things in the budget, if they postponed a bond, say to 2022, you're looking at not getting things in a budget until, 23, 24, fiscal year 23, 24. So, some work has to get done now. These projects take a long time. And so, we would agree with you that there has to be money, this year to do our work and to start planning for some seriously expensive projects, for adaptation and things like that. So.
Well, I don't want to count any chickens before they're hatched, but I think it's a credit to the Conservancy, the board, and mostly the staff that the legislature has a great deal of faith in our ability to pull off big projects. Because I am told that we may be in for a really sizable grant from the legislature this year.
Yeah, so far.
The Senate. Sorry, go ahead, Deborah.
Let's go. You go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just going to say the Senate proposal was pretty significant in the $600 or $700 million range for the Coastal Conservancy.
Yeah, I think it was about 830 million, actually.
Yeah.
See, those are the good old days.
Yeah.
We've been through the desert since then.
Well, we're very grateful for the allocations. Like you said, we can't count our chickens, before they're hatched. But so far, so good for us. And I haven't been tracking the commission's allocations, but I know that both the commission and BCDC and the OPC are in for fairly sizable amounts of funding.
All right, any other questions for Deborah? Well, then, Sam, with your permission, we'll move on to I think what's going to be the last part of your presentation, which is Prop 68 grant program. And Julia Elkin will produce that. Julia, are you around? Okay.
Good morning, Chair Bosco and members of the board. Today, I'm providing you a brief update on Conservancy staff efforts to develop a new Proposition 68 grant program focused on inclusive coastal storytelling. The idea for this new grant program grew out of staff discussions in our Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, where we recognized that while coastal open space access is a right, many are made to feel unwelcome in these places. How could Conservancy funding help make public coastal space more welcoming and inclusive? In a national report from 2018 titled 5 Ways to Make the Outdoors More Inclusive, one recommendation is to teach the full history of the American outdoors. This recommendation resonated, and staff identified the Conservancy's existing role as a funder of public signage and other interpretive materials as an obvious place to start. To this end, Conservancy staff have set aside $1 million of Proposition 68 bond funds to launch the Coastal Stories Grant Program. This program will promote inclusive histories, storytelling, and representation at the California coast and San Francisco Bay Area. It will fund projects that develop and deliver storytelling installations and materials that represent Black, Indigenous, people of color, immigrant, and other underrepresented voices that have been historically excluded in how the stories of these outdoor spaces are told. The Coastal Stories Grant Program aims to create an environment in which outdoor spaces feel welcoming for all and help visitors understand settings in relation to their ecological, cultural, or historical contexts. Staff's next steps in this effort are to develop a request for projects and craft an effective outreach strategy to reach potential project applicants. Staff will provide you another program development update at the Conservancy's September 2021 board meeting and anticipate releasing the request for projects later in the fall of 2021. Thank you for providing your ideas and feedback as staff create this program. At this time, I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Julia? Okay. Thank you, Julia. We'll be looking forward to the projects that come out of this.
Thank you, board. And just to reiterate, if there are ideas or feedback, we'd certainly welcome those. I know there's a broad range of expertise on this board, and we'd certainly benefit from your thoughts. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to take public comments on items that were not on our agenda. There are a few items that were not on our agenda, I assume. A lot of them were. Any public comments on that, Chris?
I don't see any.
Okay. Well, let's see then. Are there any Conservancy member comments that haven't yet been made?
Mr. Chair, can I just thank you? This was a long meeting and you did a great job. And actually to Ann White, our clerk, who was amazing, really hanging in there. So just really appreciate, obviously the whole Coastal Conservancy team, but you guys really had to be on the entire time. So really grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think it was a really productive meeting. We went through a lot of business, really a lot of business.
Is this a record?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
It's the longest, I think, since I've been on.
Yeah.
And that includes Malibu public comment meetings and
I think Hearst Ranch has the record.
I did want to just update folks that Brian's been working hard to get an increase in salary level for advertising for the CEO position. It's taken a while, but he's done it successfully. And so we're moving forward on that.
Good. Yeah, you two are our committee, and so you're working on this, I assume, behind the scenes. And...
Yeah, there was a little delay due to other stuff going on in the governor's office, but I think we're there now.
Well,
you know, appointing an attorney general, things like that.
Okay, Amy, do we need a, oh no, I'm sorry. We don't need a closed session today, do we?
We do not.
Okay, thanks, Amy. All right, then our next meeting will be on June 7th, coming up right away. And this again will be a virtual meeting, and we'll have a lot of talk about fires. So thank you, everyone. Have a nice rest of the evening.
Are we also roasting Sam at the end of that meeting?
Yeah.
That has been agendized. Yes.
Good.
I think it's the first item, actually.
We can do it at the end if you want. You know,
It seems like it'd be difficult to do that not in person, but I guess we'll have to try, huh?
I think fire abatement, goats, and Sam, they all go together.
Okay, well, with that thought in mind, we'll see you all June 7th.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good job today.
Thank you.
Thank you.